The first one is affixation. Affixation is the action or the process of affixing. So there are three types of affixation. The first one is a prefix. A prefix is an affix that attached to the front. For example, reply, unknown, and disagree. And the second one is a suffix. A suffix is an affix that attached to the end from its base word. For example, quickly, writer, and happiness. And the third one is an infix. So an infix inserted within the base word itself. So here, for example, is Jemari, which is Indonesian word. The second one is suppletion. So what is suppletion? Suppletion is morphological process whereby a word morpheme is replaced by a phonologically unrelated form. For example, go becoming when and be becoming was, where, which is the to be from the past tense. The next one is reduplication. So what is reduplication? Reduplication is morphological process where a root, stem, or part of a word is repeated to modify its meaning or grammatical function. So for example, from Indonesian words like diam-diam is a full reduplication and leluhur is a partial reduplication. And there are many examples um, of reduplication like basa-basi is a full reduplication and anak-anak also full reduplication and so on.
So, clipping is the process of shortening longer words without changing its meaning. People use clipping to make work easier and faster. There are several types of clipping. There are back clipping, middle clipping, and forward clipping. The back clipping, like advertisement becoming ads, and middle clipping, like influenza becoming flu, and then forward clipping, like aeroplane becoming plane. So initialism is formed by taking the first letter of each word in a phrase, and we pronounce it separately, like um, automated teller machine becoming ATM, and chief executive officer becoming CEO. So blending is when we combine parts of two different words into create a new words with a new meaning. The example is motor plus hotel becoming motel, and internet plus celebrity becoming netizen, and breakfast plus lunch becoming brunch.
Civilization. Ku Cinta Padamu as a lyric in Cinta and Rahasia song sing by Yura Yunita and Glenn Fredly in Indonesian song. It is demonstrate literalization in two forms. The pronoun aku is reduced to ku and attached to the verb cinta as a proclitic and function as the subject. And padamu consists of the preposition pada and the analytic mu from kamu, which function as the object of the preposition. Both clitics attach phonologically to adjunct words but retain their grammatical roles. The next one, acronym. I found IARA as an example. IARA stands for International Extensive Reading Association. It is an acronym formed from a initial letter of each word and pronounced as a single word. It is created through an abbreviation process and function as a proper noun in sentences. This form represents morphological economic by reducing a complex phrase into a conscious unit without losing any meaning. The next one is onomatopoeia. Guguk. It is an example of onomatopoeia because it imitates the natural sound of a dog barking. It represents how sounds are encoded into language to create a more vivid and expressive effect.
Next, in Khaled Hosseini's And the Mountains Echoed on page 44, we will encounter the word held. This word has undergone a word formation process called the internal change because in its original form or the basic form of it, the present form, this verb is supposed to be hold. But since this sentence uses past tense, then the verb becomes held. So it So we can visibly see in there that the letter O becomes A, and from the sounds, the internal sound O also becomes A. Next, we have the word cushion as a noun to cushion as a verb. Here we can't really see the change in its form, but in terms of its lexical category, this process has changed the word meaning. This word formation process is called conversion or zero derivation because of that. In BBC News on oil shock in Southeast Asia recently, the speaker uses cushion to reverse to something, in this case, a solution that the country comes up with that helps counteract an impact of oil shock. Next, the same speaker also uses cushion as a verb to describe how the solution may have the ability to soften the impact of the oil shock. Next, we have the word risk, which is supposed to be in the short form of the word charisma. But since people on the internet has been using this word, the word risk, it has become a standalone word. This word formation is called coinage. Here we have the example of cat risk, showing us a pick-up line because you look so delicious, meaning that a person may be attractive to another if he or she uses this pick-up line. In another instance, we have a person replying to another, questioning how a guy can have another girl in a short time after a breakup. The person replying means to use this word to explain that this guy may have his own charisma.
Okay, and for the next word formations, I'm going to talk about acronyms. So basically, acronyms is a word that form from the first letters of the words and pronounced like a normal word. So for the example, like NATO, UNESCO, NASA. NATO, it's come from North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it's pronounced NATO, not NATO. Or NASA, it's come from National Aeronautics and Space Administrations. It's not called NASA, but it's called NASA. And for the next is back formations. So, back formations is when a new word is created by removing what is mistakenly thought to be an affix from a longer word. So, for the example, it's like editor. So, editor is the person who edits, and then the imaginate affix is or, and then back from word is edit. And then the next is television. So television is noun. And then for the affix is in, and then the back from word is televised. So it's become an verb. And then for the last example, it's donations. So it's come from donations, and then the imagine affix is in, and it's become donate. So donate, it's a verb. And for the last is tone placement. So tone placement is which syllable gets a certain pitch, like high or low, raising or falling, and how that pitch affects the meaning or emphasize the meaning of the word. And for the tone placement, I find it a lot in Mandarin language. So this is the example that I know. Like you can see, the first is gege. So for the gege, it has two gege. The first one is gege with raising at first, so the meaning is older brother. And then for the second gege, the meaning is everybody. And next,
读书，读书。
for 读书, the first meaning is school or learning, and for the second meaning, it's read, pray, or number. So it's different. For the tone placement, it's different the meaning also.